We're back. We're back playing What Remains of Edith Finch. Yeah. And we're gonna figure out the rest of this, I guess. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know. But we're gonna keep rolling. This has been a very emotionally heavy game.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
4 poems.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
Hey.
Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Kaito, chill.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met me, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
There are words here, right?
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Dang. I would never do that to my mom or dad.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Cheers.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Okay. She wasn't kidding about the
My
climbing.
mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Okay. So her dad is Sanjay. Fly to India. Sanjay's from India. And she is Dawn.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
I mean, if my family's cursed, I want to know
When
about
my dad
it, right?
died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
7 steps of
But it
the
didn't
scientific
last.
method.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Sometimes I move the wrong stick, and it changes. It pulls me out of something that I want to look at.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
He was an artist. Wait,
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
so just like he disappeared in that book, he just disappeared. There's no trace. Maybe he ran away, maybe he got abducted, I don't know. But he's gone, and chances are he's dead. The music is just amazing.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
That's the door right there that he disappeared into. I mean, we know he didn't
Whatever Milton
disappear.
had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Milton. He was the one that made it into the hole before me. We're getting on up there.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After
How
he
would-
graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis.
He's got a hookah. Legalized marijuana. Nice one, Lewis. made out of a boat?
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I bet it's marijuana. I'm guessing that's what, you know.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
It's really hard to do all of this at one time. I'm controlling both of these at the same time.
Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Lewis is mentally ill. That's why I'm getting at this.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
He became a machine.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
The dream is becoming
I even
more
encouraged
and more.
him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished.
Oh no.
He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Nice.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
It sounds like he has a severe mental illness.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Second. I'm like cleaning the waters.
The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows.
What in the world? This game is wild.
He followed the sound of her
Silver harp. I accidentally hit a rainbow. Oops.
silver harp.
I bet it's a trophy to hit all of these things or something like that. I haven't looked at the trophies for this game, which is a very rare thing for me to not check the trophies out.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
They're trying to get you where you can
He
do
knew
it
the
without
world
even
was
looking.
all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
He's not got anything.
I still
in
thought I
things?
could save him.
Oh
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
no. Oh. Yeah, he's severely mentally ill. Which, I mean, the thing is, like,
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Molly. He's mentally ill, but at the same time, like, escapism is a real thing. Like, I can't say I've never escaped the responsibilities and the monotony of my life by playing video games. Because I have. But
there was only one thing left to do.
That's a guillotine.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
You know, I'm guessing he got chopped up by the little fish cutter thing, but wow.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Really? Maybe maybe it was just because he was high? I don't know. Actually, I don't know how to continue. I'm guessing it's this way. I could be very wrong, but I mean, up there's the way, right? I've not made a fool of myself this playthrough yet by not finding the right way to go. Looks like it might be time to start. Right here. Okay. It didn't take me that long to find it.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
That doesn't seem right. Sorry, I got turned around.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Yeah. I mean, we've reached the top. My room. So I'm guessing we're close to the end, so let's go see what this is.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
She wishes they had stayed? Oh my gosh, she is pregnant.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
To teach and to learn, Dawn Finch.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
What happened that night?
Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Let's do it.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Oh, I thought I was watching something. Sorry.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Oh boy. Can I enter? Oh, okay. It wasn't working for a second.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
So I'm guessing this is where Edie slept. History of the Finches by Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
I'd say so. Just listen to the buoy.
For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
The deer that killed Sam.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
I mean, I'm in the car, am I not?
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Oh, no.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Alrighty guys, so I actually recorded an outro for this video during the credits, but it's a couple days later now and I was editing it and all I did was really talk in circles and not say anything that really added to the video. So I really hope that you all got what you needed to get out of that playthrough. It was very emotional and very intense, and it could have definitely hit somebody else different than it hit me. But with that said, it's over now. So the next game I play will hopefully be a happier one. And yeah, I'm very excited. That was a great game, and I appreciate you all for watching. So if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And if not, well, don't. But regardless, I hope I see you in the next video.